Welcome to the Spirit-Centered Business Podcast, where we blend the spiritual with the practical for supernatural results. Now, here is your host, Bralynn Newby.
Okay, welcome back to Spirit-Centered Business. Terry and I have been chit-chatting between here. If you missed part one, definitely go to spiritcenteredbusiness.com or YouTube or wherever you're watching or hearing the podcast and go catch part one there. We were talking about enforcing the verdicts that we got from heaven, because we've noticed that there's a gap between the work being done in the spirit realm and actually seeing it in the 3D realm, because it's not sometimes not on earth as it is in heaven. We go do work in heaven and it doesn't end up on earth. So that was part one. If you missed it, make sure you go get it. Another piece of housekeeping is making sure that if over on spiritcenteredbusiness.com, you take that business assessment if you haven't already. Okay, Terry, now we were saying, what are we going to talk about? But you know what it all came down to? Because you were just, rattling off the things that happened in your business and the things that you're doing, and in your fishing, and you monetized your YouTube channel, and you used to do this and now you do this and all of this kind of stuff. But this is spirit-centered business, so we can talk about business. It's okay. So if you want to give any tips and tricks about, doing business as a son and doing what the Lord has called you to do and following your passion and all of that stuff, I'm totally open to having that conversation.
Yeah, well, awesome. Yeah, that's a fun one. It's a challenge. It's also a challenge because we've read all the best books from Barnes and Noble. We've all read the how to start a business and all that stuff, and we think, well, how come this isn't working? Well, maybe because it's birthed on earth. It's not birthed from the waters from above.
Oh, that is so good.
And when we
so good.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to tell you might not know this. My audience, I think, knows this because I've said it a couple times, but the Lord had me learn how to do all of the online marketing and how to do launches and all of this stuff. And then he goes, but you're not going to be doing your business that way.
You learn what not to do, right?
Right. Well, or what works for other people my clients that I'm helping that maybe aren't in the same spiritual position of trust and faith that I am in yet, because they still need to work under the earth systems. So now
I think a better system is governmental, legislative and judicial sonship assignments that are operating under the blueprint of heaven as designed from Isaiah 9, 6, and 7. Let me go back to that because that's a really powerful. I just recently read Isaiah 9, 1 through 5. That really breaks this thing down, the results of governmental business.
Oh, perfect. I am taking
governmental legislation.
Yeah, go for it.
And so it's important in really every aspect of our life. That just blew me away. I was so stuck on Isaiah 9, 6 through 7. That's the governmental blueprint for anything we operate, especially in the courts of heaven. Don't limit it to just the courtroom of heaven, but everything. Isaiah 9, 6, and 7 is the flow chart of the government of the kingdom of heaven. Now that can be business as well, or relationships. But verse 9, 1 through 5 really gives the results of proper divine governmental order as protocols and guidelines. Here's what happens. But there will be no gloom for her who was in anguish. Doesn't that sound good?
Yes.
Yeah.
Although I don't want to be in anguish, but no gloom is always good.
No gloom for her who was in anguish. So all this tormenting demon stuff, you think you're under attack. Well, number one, if you think you're under attack, you are, because you just gave into an agreement, a constitutional law that says I'm under attack. So you're in agreement with darkness. So darkness is attacking you because you're under attack. Why even say that? It creates.
Brilliant, Terry.
I graduated from high school. The sixth grade was the 3 best years of my life. In the former time, he brought into a contempt the land of Zebulun, the land of Naphtali, but in the latter time he was made glorious, the way of the sea, the land beyond the Jordan, the Galilee of the nation. So he made glorious the way. He make your path like a path of glory in whatever you do. He wasn't specific in saying, but this is a governmental flowchart for a business, for relationship, for whatever ministry. Verse 2 says, and the people who walked in darkness have seen a great light. Wow. Those who dwelt in the land of deep darkness, on them has light shone. Verse 3 says, you have multiplied the nation. You have multiplied my business.
Mm-hmm.
You have multiplied my relationship. You have multiplied whatever I put my hands to shall prosper. You have increased its joy. They rejoice before you. Doesn't that sound like that could be really
That would be a fun business to have.
awesome? Yeah, where you're not having to be there from 9 to 5, but you enjoy. You wake up, I can't wait to get to work because this is happening in my life. So if you follow the proper order, Timothy Bent says, if you follow the order, or if you follow the blueprint, it always gets results. So go always look to how you can move differently according to Isaiah 9, 6, and 7, and you'll begin to see these results in everything you do.
That's good. Did you know that Timothy and I are doing 2 retreats together back to back?
Oh, no.
Yeah. For some reason, this is just the billing. We got 2 different groups are bringing up the speakers for the retreats.
You guys, you'll love it. I've traveled with him. In fact, I've got 23 videos up on my YouTube. I created a special playlist with just Timothy Benson.
Just Timothy? Oh my gosh, that's
awesome. So
awesome.
go there. It's in the podcast or playlist tab.
Yes. So his, you guys, Terry's YouTube channel is Terry Spencer. So go to YouTube and just search for Terry Spencer and then look at this playlist with Timothy Benson. It's awesome.
Yeah, you'll find them.
Okay, continue with Isaiah.
Verse 3 goes on to say, and with joy at the harvest, as they are glad when they divide the spoil.
Oh, yeah.
For the yoke of his burden and the staff of his shoulder, the rod of his oppressor, you have broken as on the day of Midian. Wow, all those demonic burdens and assignments and chains of bondage are broken because you've been operating and you've done the removed the legal rights of the enemy in the courts. Verse 5 says, for every boot of the tramping warrior in battle tumult and every garment rolled in blood will be burned as fuel for the fire.
Nice.
Isn't that good?
Yep.
So there's your business right there. Let that be the blueprint for your business. If you get the pattern right, the blessings will follow. Those blessings will follow. It's his word and he does not lie.
That's good. So you're monetizing your YouTube channel. I know you've got Phishing Charters. How are those going, by the way? I bet you're having a lot of fun.
I decided not to do it. I don't like schedules too much. I decided not to do it officially. There's tons of people that come down and they pay $300 to $500 for a 3-hour trip, and it would be really, really a cool thing to do. But then I would have to have schedules. And so I just said, I'm just going to do this for friends and family that want to come down and make a donation to the ministry instead of paying $305. I can't imagine asking somebody to pay $500 and we don't catch any fish. That's part of fishing. It happens. But let's just get together and have a good time and talk about fish and learn a little bit about it too. And if we catch fish, that's great and wonderful. If not, there's no obligation to do anything. If you want to give a donation to the ministry, that's cool and wonderful. If you don't, we'll just write it down to a good time. There's plenty of times I go out and don't catch fish, but I just want to make it a non-stressful environment with no schedules and And so keep it limited to the people. Now I guess everybody's going to know, but
Now everybody's going to know, Terry. So we just won't tell them how to contact you. How about
okay, Terry Spencer at oh, okay.
Yeah, no, you do you. So other than you're going out and you're speaking, I know you're speaking and you're leading these groups and that kind of stuff. You're monetizing the YouTube channel. You're doing photography. Can people hire you to do photography?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That would be fun.
Same concept as fishing.
Okay, yeah, friends and family, and you just make a donation to whatever you.
Yeah. And I don't do people in photography too much. I want to, but I'm more wildlife and nature and scenics and stuff like that.
And I've seen your work. It's beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. And you've done some other artwork as well. I know you've done graphic design, and you've done some. Are you using like Midjourney or something like that?
Oh yeah. I love Midjourney. Midjourney is cool. I think it's just it can be a tool in the good, for the good, or it can be a tool for evil. And AI is going to be that way. It's already kind of scary, but I'm using it as a tool from God I really like using it. If I have a dream or a vision or something like that, I can create it, type in as a type to image protocol where I can type in the best I can to this vision I've had, or a dream I've had, or a thought I have, and Midjourney will create a picture, and then I can make a little short video out of it, or a long video, and put things together. And I do that a lot nowadays. I just love AI and what God has blessed us with there, and I'm all in for that stuff. It's so creative, and
yeah.
but
Do you know Elizabeth Gomes?
What?
Do you know Elizabeth Gomes?
Yeah, I do.
From Canada. Yeah, because she likes Midjourney, and she did some beautiful, absolutely gorgeous work for the cover of my next book. But it's not, how Midjourney is like, there's just something a little off about it. It's like, I can't quite use it in exactly the way she did it. So I need to find an artist who can kind of take that and tweak it. So that's where we are. But she's amazing. I love her, and I love her heart.
There's a way you can do that, is you'll get the text prompt, copy and paste that, and every time you generate a new text prompt, it'll give you a new image.
Yeah. She spent a lot of time and a lot of hours on my book, and so I give her a shout out because she's just amazing.
Yeah, it's fun. That's been the major drive here lately: video creations and audio, and syncing everything together, find the right song, the right pictures, and put it all together for a little video, and put it on my YouTube channel. You'll find a lot of that there.
Oh, so songs, though, we should give people a heads up. Don't do copyright violations, because YouTube will shut you down.
Right.
Yeah, you have to get where do you get your music, or do you make it?
Some paid. There's Upbeat, UPPBEAT is a good one. Artlist.
Artlist, I didn't know about. Okay.
Yeah, there's a couple there that are really good that I use a lot. And you're paying for a license, and it's not terribly expensive. I use them every day, and if you can justify, a small fee every month, that's a great place to avoid any copyright violations.
That's good. So what else are you doing in business, or have the Lord shown you, like, I used to do this and now I do this because you learned a lesson? Because people always want to know that. Like, we want to avoid the little lessons that we'll learn lessons, Terry.
Well, you know what? I believe it's an evolution from glory to ever increasing glory.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I've made so many mistakes, and I'm not afraid of making mistakes. Maybe I'm in a mistake right now. I was in a mistake. Well, let's just call it a learning process.
Sure.
Rather than a mistake, because he has divinely orchestrated everything in our life, the good, the bad, and the ugly. He allows some things for our good. And when we begin to look at things from an eternal perspective, in other words, inquire of the Lord, why is this happening to me? Why is this negative thing happening in my life? Am I under demonic attack? Probably no. Probably you co-created that problem with your mindset or your words that come out of your mouth. You were a co-conspirator with some dark things that are happening in your life, rather than being a co-creator with light and glory and destiny. And so it becomes an ongoing process to find out the truth in everything I'm doing. Jesus is the way, he is the truth, and he is the life. If I am in him, everything I experience has a purpose within it. Everything has significance in it, built into the package, whether we like it or not. It's significant in your life and something Yahweh wants you to process to find out what not to do.
Right.
And an example, what I use a lot is with Saul, King Saul, and David. I was asked one time by the Lord, he said, why do you think I put David in the company of Saul?
Mm.
I
Wow.
go, I don't know. He said, so that the things that were in Saul won't be in David.
Oh, that's good.
So if you're have this grinding relationship, it's a mirror image, probably what's in you that God wants to deal with, because frequencies attracted to its same frequency. And so we have to realize, well, maybe that something is in me. When we're pointing the finger, that's what most of the Christians do. We're going to point the finger because I'm all that. I'm pointing the finger at them. They're the ones with the problem, but that demon is staring at you, communicating with you. And so if I inquire the Lord, like a spirit of religion, that's one thing that we need to look. Search me, O God. Psalms 139, 23 and 24 is my favorite prayer. Know my heart, try me. Where? Try me in the courts of heaven. See if there's any wicked way in me and lead me in the way everlasting. Boy, you start praying that prayer, he'll start exposing stuff in you, and you'll be going, demon, 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 get away from me. You won't want to deal with it, but he's speaking to you. These are things in you that give the enemy a legal right to suppress or bring illness or defeat or you name it. And so there's an ongoing process. When I begin to understand that everything has an eternal purpose, there's a greater peace and rest going through whatever I go through. Even these different businesses that I thought were God in the beginning, turned out they weren't God.
Or they were for a time. They, you can't say it wasn't. If it's all part of the plan.
Well, here's another thing he showed me. He said, I want you to make a heavenly trade with me. He said, I want you to trade all those times you operated in my good and my pleasing will, and trade it for my perfect will.
Oh, that's good, Terry. Wow.
And I go, I know all those times I had these wild popcorn ideas, and I took off in zeal without stopping and inquiring of the Lord, is this your perfect will? I'll give you an example. There was, I was out west, and I was coming back home, and I was staying in Mobile with my family there. And I said, I either want to go to Nashville or, North Carolina. Asheville, North Carolina was kind of a cool place. I thought about there and a few other places. And I said, I haven't been back to Destin area in about 10 years. I just want to drive over there and see what it's like. And, I got over here, and along the way I was going, I'm a Whole Foods junkie. And I said, well, God, if if there was a new Whole Foods in Destin, Florida, there wasn't one before, that I would be assigned to me, that I would move back over to Destin. And guess what happened? There's this brand new Whole Foods.
I know right where it is too.
Grand opening. This is my own Whole Foods store. I'm moving right now. I'm just coming over. This is my home. God, no. But you know what happened? There was no grace and no favor on that move at all.
Oh, wow.
I tried to do meetings here, and it was from the old group that I was associated with, and it was just like they were trying to stay in the old what they knew instead of move on beyond. And
Yeah.
bless their hearts, I love them, but there was no grace and no favor at all on me. And I decided then, when the Lord said, "Those are things that are not on your blueprint, but I allowed under my good and my pleasing will, in order to teach you a greater way." And so now I'm just kind of slow making any decisions. And sometimes, like the app building, mobile apps was one of those things that I was going after it about 2 or 3 months. And I said, something just died out here. There's no zeal. There's no love anymore for it. There's no drive. There's no passion. There's no grace and favor on it anymore. It just went away. And so I realized that wasn't his perfect will for me. And what I'm doing now with the YouTube channel, I think is I could be totally, totally wrong. But it's an evolution into greater
Yeah.
glory. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm willing to go and say, "Oh, I repent. There's one more time. I need to wait a little bit longer to find your perfect will in this
Right.
situation."
And there's nothing wrong with exploring and having adventure and, creating multiple streams of income, especially if they're passive streams. There's nothing wrong with it. Like you said, you have the good and pleasing permissive will, to go co-create, as Virginia Killingsworth says. But yeah, we want to know his perfect will, because then we know that we're completely equipped and provided for and provisioned for the journey if we're on that destiny, which is, my latest book, the newest book that I'm working on. So when when we know his will, and when we're walking out the destiny scroll that he's given us for the business, then we can count on the provision and the protection and the heavenly resources and the strategy, and the angels that will go out and bring clients to you, and all of that kind of stuff. But when we're operating on our own, it's kind of a heavier yoke, to slog through the work, because he will pay for what he orders, but he's not an obligation to pay for what he didn't.
Yeah, yeah, right. And
Yeah.
I learned from that, and I didn't blame anybody else. I didn't point my finger at anybody. This was on me, and
And we've all done that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and so interesting processes we're going through. But I believe he's preparing us, each one of us, to move into that greater glory of governing and being a legislative and judicial son that we've never operated in before. That's the true ecclesia, where
Right.
we're entrusted with our own court system, like 1 Corinthians 6 says, "Don't you know you'll judge the world and judge the angels?" That's a sonship responsibility beyond a kingly and priestly anointing, that he's using everything to bring us into that position of authority very quickly. And so when we embrace the process, we find out there's a lot of court cases and verdicts that can be rendered along the way. That particular issue was loaded with the good and the pleasing and the perfect, dealing with all those uh, uh, legal contracts that I created in the spirit realm from the good and pleasing will of the Father, and releasing all those, the ties to those, the tethers to those things, and coming into a place of total trust and abandonment to his perfect will. And then I had to walk out any verdict that I saw in a way that I was consciously aware and very sensitive to things that come to me from the spirit, uh, that that I I'm not hastily moving into making a decision now. I'm waiting on the counsel of 2 or 3 witnesses. I'm waiting for things to be confirmed. So I know that what I want to begin to experience, what I need to begin to operate as a son, what I need to begin to operate in as a business man or woman, has to be his perfect will that's from the blueprints of heaven. And if we go back to Isaiah 9, 6, and 7, we'll see that pattern of how that looks again, and how that function, how that flow chart comes from heaven first, and then it comes through Yeshua and goes into our body, and we're seated in Christ Jesus at the right hand of the Father, ordering and establish his kingdom with righteousness and judgment. We're no longer pleading with God to say, oh God, if it be your will, let Andy Sue be healed, whatever.
That's church age.
Yeah. And, and one thing I'm learning to do, I'm practicing, is Paul said something that's very powerful. We're so locked into our traditional prayer. He said, I'll be with you in spirit.
Yeah, that's a good one.
What did that mean? Does it mean the way we take it today, that's just a nice way of saying I can't be there?
No.
No.
That's not the way I read it.
There was something going on there. Paul understood who he was. He was operating in Yahweh's omnipresence. He understood Yahweh's omnipotence, and he understand Yahweh's omniscience. As he is, so am I in this world. So we're coming into that sonship, but we're coming into a divine mystical union that we can be entrusted with the government of the kingdom of heaven, so that we can move in and out of any specific area. He guides us, not just the 7 mountains of society. It actually says there's a place higher, out of Mount Zion. Where Mount Zion was the mountain of the Lord shall be established on the mountains of the world. So there's a mountain higher. When we're limiting ourselves by declaring I have a specific mountain, well, that may be a place where you operate primarily, but as a son, as a one who's in a mystical union with Christ, you're as he is, so I'm in this world. So you're seated in the mountain of the Lord, able to govern over any of the 7 mountains as Holy Spirit leads. Same way with the 5-fold ministry, by the way.
Oh, so good.
Don't limit yourself. So
I agree. I just want just a mechanics kind of a question, because
okay.
we're all different. How do you see, quote unquote, in the spirit realm? Are you a hearer, seer, perceiver, knower? How does it work for you?
I'm not saying this boasting in myself, but it's all that.
Okay, so you really 3D experience it.
Yeah,
That's so cool.
Remember those personality profiles we did in church, and they labeled us this and that and the other, and anytime you talk to anybody, they say, well, I'm this, I'm that. Well, that wasn't the purpose of it. That was to show your strength and also show your weaknesses, where you need to be come into the fullness of Christ. Ephesians 4:13, 14, and 15 actually says, until we come to the place of the full stature of Jesus Christ. So where is Jesus supposed to operate? How is Jesus supposed to operate? In all those things. So Jesus was the firstborn of many, and as he is, so am I in this world. I should be able to operate in or partner with his omnipresence, omniscience, and omnipotence at any given time, in any given place. And when Paul said, I'll be with you in spirit, he knew how to be with them in spirit. He was there. And I've been practicing that, and you're welcome to practice too. Thank you for it's an impartation. Just practice. Our spiritual senses are exercised by reason of use. So just practice, practice, practice. Try it. And next time somebody asks you to pray, go there in the spirit. Close your eyes and go there in the spirit, and take some notes, what it looks like, and contact the person who asked you to pray and talk to them. There's been a couple times. The first one was had a worship leader with us, and his girlfriend couldn't make it. She was her daughter was in the having some problems, And I said, well, I'll just go into the court or into her home and pray over her. So I entered into her home, and immediately I just shut my eyes and there. I mean, it's at speed of thought. And I'm there, and I could describe the room. And I came back to her and told her, well, I pray. I felt like she's okay, and she's going to be all right. And about 5 minutes later, the daughter called, said, I'm perfectly fine. But what I saw was she's in a blue bedroom, painted blue. And Mama said, that's not the color of her room. And she asked, where are you staying? I'm staying at Grandma's house. And that was the color of Grandma's
Oh, wow.
room. So I could describe the room.
Yeah.
And remember the DeMar football player, DeMar, I can't remember his last name.
Mhm.
Anyway, had this serious hit, and he suffered a cardiac arrest on the or something like that
Oh,
on the
maybe
playing
I
field.
did hear about it. Okay, go ahead.
And I just knew that God wanted me to do something. So I said, well, like Paul, I'll go in the spirit. I'll be with you in spirit. And so I went into his IC unit, and by faith, I just closed my eyes, and there it was. There was a lot of people around, and their doctors and everything. They had such a depressed, death look upon their faces, like he's not going to make it. All of
Right.
a sudden, I saw this blue light come into the room, and I knew that was the end of the vision. I knew that was the healing power of God come in that place. And he survived miraculously. A couple of days he was there. Now he was out of the hospital. Now they really had no hope for him. And that
Hmm.
was a few months ago, but it was an amazing story. And I'm not taking full credit. I know there were millions of people praying for him, but I had a part to play in it, you know?
That is really cool that you can experience a 3D, because I know that a lot of people don't, including myself. I'm not even, sometimes I see something like a snapshot, but I'm kind of a more of a perceiver. Like I kind of feel what's around me, but I'm not seeing details except in my dreams. My dreams are very highly detailed. And I sometimes get prophetic dreams. I sometimes get assignment dreams. And also I know that I go on missions in my dreams.
Yeah, yeah. And they're
Yeah,
very real, right?
absolutely very real. And I come back, I thought I had a bruise somewhere. It's like I have come back with bruises and a sprained ankle one time, and
Yeah.
weird stuff.
Well, I believe here's where I think is happening in our human nature. Uh, we are experiencing things in dreams and visions, and we're experiencing an occasional encounter. But over here in our night, uh, uh, or our, we are operating in our divine nature.
Hmm.
Remember, human nature is not our true nature. Our divine nature is our true nature. So here we are in the dreams or in a vision. We're operating in our humanity. And by the way, I don't fight a demon on from my human nature. I fight from my divine nature every time I win the battle. And I haven't had one of those battles in a long time. But what is happening, the more we come into that divine union and oneness with the Holy Trinity, there's a convergence that happens where it's going to be blurred the lines between human nature and divine nature, and then we become all divine nature, and that stuff happens all around us, just like we're walking Jesus on the earth. You know, we're little gods, and we're doing these things that Jesus did, and we're fulfilling as he is, so am I in this world. In fact, that's a present tense statement. So, well,
Hmm.
let's do that.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Yeah, I've got it on my Bible. That's my favorite scripture. As he is, so are we in this world. I make it personal and say, as he is, so am I in this world.
So am I in this world. Exactly. Yeah.
There's my
And
governing.
the other, go ahead.
There's my governing decree. I'm not waiting, contending, or tarrying that for that to happen. I'm
Right.
stepping into it. So I'm governed from the mountain of the Lord, from seated in Christ Jesus, declaring now, because it's a present tense statement, as he is, so am I in this world.
So good.
So you're
Yep.
creating a new contract, a new covenant, a new testament. new
New
testimony.
constitution. Yeah. Yep. I love that. That's really good. Oh my gosh, I didn't write it down. You said something that I wanted to circle back to, but I forgot it at the moment. So, you, so, so you are operating several groups, or at least more than one. Now, can tell the peeps what groups they are and how they can get a hold and how they can join you.
Oh, okay. Probably the courtrooms of heaven. There's several courtrooms of heaven groups out there, but I think it's got my picture on there, and it's the largest one out there. We're blessed to be the largest Facebook group,
Woo-hoo.
courtrooms of heaven. Yeah, I was never after numbers. He said, totally don't go there. Don't hype, don't do anything, and God builds the house, right? So
Right.
he's
That's
done that. There's 22,000 people on there, and I have a Patreon group out of there that we have weekly Zooms on Sunday evenings. You've been a part of
awesome.
some of those, and
Yeah.
you've been wonderful. Once you're back some more, come on. And we've had some great times every week. It's we've created a safe place in these Zoom meetings where it's not a preacher speaking to somebody sitting in the pew. It's an interactive where you're free to share some wild, crazy encounters if you have one. And then we kind of combine the convergence. What we were talking about earlier was
Mhm.
this is a combined effort for the Enoch Flight School, the Mystic, Christ-centered mystics, modern day mystics. That's
Mhm.
all a part of that. And Yahweh's co-creators, governing creation mandate. That's all part of the convergence initiatives or inactive interactives now. I'm getting all these names mixed up, but it's all under one banner, Mobilize the Legislators Initiative.
Oh, that's good. So do you have an ecclesia group that does legislation?
Yeah, we don't do it every week.
Okay.
It's kind of by the Spirit. We may hit something during a conversation, and while we need to do a court case right now for that, we don't schedule a court session each time. My thing is we've encountered this several times with people on the Courts of Heaven page. Will you do Courts of Heaven for me? And
Oh,
it's a
yeah.
lazy person's way out. And God said, I want you. We did that in the beginning. We had several teams all over the world that I could refer people to. And God said, I want you to stop that. Stop it
Mhm.
right now. I want you to teach people how to fish. Don't do it for them because they'll
Right.
always lean on you, that you always be a crutch. And they always want to come to you. They don't want to spend the time to learn how to operate in the courts of heaven effectively. They want a quick fix.
Yeah.
And so I've created a video. It's a 6-hour video with all the protocols and guidelines. So you can have that as a basic foundation for courts. A lot of biblical scriptures in there. That's on my YouTube channel. Or you can send me a message and I'll get you information. It's $79. But it's a convergence of everything uh, because I think God is bringing a convergence of all we've been talking about. That's part of the evolution process of, I thought they were all separate before, but now it's all converging into this
Yeah.
governmental ecclesia type legislative and judicial sonship in literally everything we do.
That's so good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a couple different groups too. I've got the ecclesia group for business, and that's, we either do legislation or we just go govern. Like we operate as kings in our business and we go see what the Lord is doing and do that. Um, we do that twice a month. And then it would be cool to be part of a group that literally had a mandate to do legislation. I am part of another group that we're kind of like a special ops, and we got a mandate to work on technology. And
Mm.
so we meet and we do some pretty cool things, but we only do what the Lord is showing us to do. And some of the things we're like, I don't know if we're ready to do, even though it says this is what you're going to be doing. And we're like,
Okay.
well, I'm not sure we're ready to do that yet. Can we just table that till next week? And it's been like next week for month. Because there's some tasks that the Lord wants us to do. And I don't think for myself that I'm ready to do some of the things, so it really is important to have that intimacy and to understand who you are and where your comfort zone is. And when I say comfort zone, I mean comfort within him, as far as where he's calling you to go. If you feel like you're not comfortable, then you're not being led by peace, right? So we talked a little bit about this in episode 1 about the jurisdiction and not stepping in, not just going and doing a court case because you feel like having one, but really feeling like you're called to. So
Yeah,
I'm glad that you do that in your groups.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What was your question?
Well, no, I'm just saying that I'm glad you do that. But people can get a hold of you. You're on Coffee, right? ko-fi.com.
Yeah.
How is that going for you? How do you like that platform, by the way?
I'm kind of phasing out.
Oh yeah. Where are you
just
going?
Another platform. I'm converging everything, trying to move everything over to Patreon.
Oh, Patreon.
But
okay.
it's a good program. It's a little cheaper than Patreon. And
okay.
It's a little different. Language is a little different, but it's kind of cool. And so I've used it for a long time, but good stuff.
It's always neat to know what platforms people use. And Subscribe Star is another one I've been looking at, just because I was on Patreon, but because the Patreon takes a cut and then PayPal takes a cut, and like if people want to only pay $5 a month, but it's like, well, I see $1.23 out of that.
Yeah, that's the only bad thing about them.
Yeah.
Hello, Patreon. If you're watching, will you do something? Help us out here a little bit. Come on.
Right? Yeah. Okay. All right. So best place to get a hold of you, though, is it Revolution Glory?
Well, no, that's my website. I don't go there anymore. Everything on my website drives to all the social media stuff.
Oh, okay. All right.
And so I haven't even looked at that thing for, a couple of years, because they say you have to have a website. I believe websites are actually phasing out, and we're moving into different platforms and social media.
It's kind of a clearinghouse, like a hub for people to like find wherever you are.
Yeah. That's what I use it for. Just where am I? And so, revolutionglory.com.
Okay.
And if you're ever in Seagrove Beach, what?
I was going to say, where do people mostly find you on? Facebook or?
Facebook. Yeah, I'm on Instagram. Yeah, and TikTok. I'm on TikTok now.
Oh, geez.
I want to reach the young people, and I'm doing, an experiment in TikTok. You know how these social media things, you need to invite your friends and Facebook friends, Instagram friends, and I said, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to see what happens, and I could share a screen with you and show you my TikTok, but I put these little 1-minute videos on there, and some of them get over 1,000 views on it. And there's like 6 people have friended me. I haven't friended anybody, but all these little videos are getting hits up to 1,000 or more.
Wow.
So what it shows me is, don't think you have to have a major or be somebody special to reach people.
Yeah.
All you need is the right tool. And
I was called, I think the Lord told me to get on TikTok, but I don't even like social media at all, much less a TikTok. I last like 30 seconds. And it's like, okay, so if I made a bunch of videos, I'll send it to my team and like they put it on TikTok, but I don't want to like get slimed by the stuff that's on there because it's so random. You go and you look for, to see Robert Henderson or Terry Spencer or, whoever else, Timothy Benz, or I don't know if he's even on there, but I'm just saying, you go look for something good, and then like the very next video is like how to do witchcraft, or how to tell your parents you're gay, or like, oh my gosh. Like
I see it all day long. It's just a
Oh,
matter of what you get hooked into.
yeah, I'm just like, I'm not even
Like
giving that opportunity to.
I'm I haven't watched some of that stuff. I just want to see what they're doing.
Oh my gosh,
And
Terry.
living above the snake line, I am not in warfare mentality anymore. So
No,
I
but it's a waste of time.
it's a waste of time. Yeah, it does that. But in him, I live and move and have my being. So if I'm seriously in that position, the enemy has to go through Jesus Christ to get to me.
Yeah,
And he can't do that. And so that's where I look at myself. It's like redeeming some of the things that are being redeemed right now. A lot of people are doing some pretty crazy stuff that goes totally against the church age traditions, but a lot of it comes from some platforms that we thought was not right in the past, but they were gifted from God and we're redeeming that. And I asked the group the other night, I said, who's responsible for redeeming those things that have been stolen from us? We're waiting for somebody with a name or
no, it's us. Yeah,
it's not them, it's you and me in our heart.
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And so I haven't been slimed in a while.
I just don't
I
like.
don't like
So,
that.
so anybody who wants to come on as my TikTok person, I'm welcoming you to volunteer to be my intern and do TikTok for me.
Oh, there
Okay.
you go. Yeah, it's a powerful tool and reaches a younger crowd, and that's what I'm after. If I have to endure a little bit of that, I'm okay with it. And I have to walk.
Oh,
I have to
Terry.
walk to the grocery store. I have to walk down the beach and see people on the beach. And
Yeah,
everywhere I go, I can choose to be slimed or I can choose to be a blessing.
that's true. That is very true.
Well, we love you, Bralynn.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, this has been a good conversation. We kind of were all over the map, but that's okay. That's all right. Well,
Yeah.
it's all good. All right, Terry. So people can find you on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and your YouTube channel, Terry Spencer. And he is monetizing his YouTube channel. So you guys make sure you subscribe over there. And of course, subscribe to Bralynn Newby while you're over there on YouTube. And catch the show over there, share the show, like it, subscribe it, hit the little bell, whatever it takes. Get the message out there. Thanks, you guys. Until next time, stay spirit-centered. Peace out.
Hey there, SCB peeps. I want to give a huge shout out and deep appreciation and thanks to Candace Benton. She has become a super sponsor for the Spirit Centered Business Show. So I would appreciate you helping me in sending blessings and abundance back to her. Thank you so much, Candace, and you are well loved.
Thank you for listening to Spirit Centered Business with Bralynn Newby. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. The next stage of doing business by being spirit-centered is coming together in collaboration, working with spiritual principles and knowing our destiny. Join our tribe at spiritcenteredbusiness.com, and we'll catch you on the next broadcast. Peace out.